It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and right now you tuned into World Combat Sports.
Once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Hey, you know what it is. Sunday, boxing talk, SKIDMARK Chronicles, episode number 13. If you didn't know, it's fight week in a different way. Big news coming. But first, we need to talk about Shakur Stevenson, man, and Jeremiah Nakatila. Yes, we need to address the criticism and everything that goes along with the sport of boxing. And is it warranted? You know, for those of you who paid attention to the fight yesterday, there's a lot of criticism going into the fact that it wasn't entertaining. It was a sleeper, a snoozer, the land of nod, whatever you want to call it. And for any hardcore fans that saw that fight and said just that, should understand that that's the way boxing goes sometimes. Like every fight is not going to be high impact electric. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you can name damn near any fighter right now, and I can name a fight where they got criticism. You know what I'm saying? Where it was a criticism and how they fought. It's always going to happen. You're gonna have your highlights, you're gonna have your lows. It happens in the sport of boxing. I said to myself before Stevenson was heading in here with Nakatila, I was kind of putting it out there like he's calling out Valdez and Herring. And it may be that he don't perform at 150% just because he don't want to run nobody off. I know he fought Toka Conclari, and he was a much different fighter. He was much more active. You should be understanding that's Shakur Stevenson right there. The pressure that he was putting on Toka Conclari, who wouldn't go away, is exactly what he could have did yesterday. Nakatila was much more of a slower paced fighter than Toka Conclari, period. He didn't present no danger. He was more so afraid and overly cautious about engaging. That doesn't mean Stevenson couldn't have picked it up and gave him the business. It's the fact that he didn't. You know what I'm saying? Shakur Stevenson didn't give him the business. And it was like a counter shot fest. And I truly believe that, you know, Stevenson could have did it at any time. He could have turned up the volume, the pressure whenever he chose to do it. He just chose not to. You know, maybe it was, you know, to give the impression on Valdez that he was food. Go in there and fight him. You know, have his people look at it and say, hey, man, that's easy right there. That's easy. Take that fight with Shakur Stevenson. It's easy. Don't worry about it. He's not even doing anything. He's boring. He ain't doing nothing this fight. You know, he's overhyped. It could have been just that. Don't nobody want to make those type of assumptions in hindsight. You got to have confidence to do that shit. Because if you know what he did to Toka Conclari just didn't go away. It didn't evaporate. He's still that dude. He dominated. It was a lopsided affair with a fighter who was much more active than Nakatila. Toka Conclari was much more active. Nakatila wasn't, but then again, Stevenson chose not to. And there's many, you know, speculations that you can take into that fight as to why he didn't really push the gas. He said he didn't feel good, and then he turned around and said, I feel good. He didn't really want to make no excuses for the way he fought. He just basically said he'd get back in the gym and improve and return to the ring. It might have been many things. He might have just been playing possum a little bit, you know, not really putting out, just putting in the rounds and not really putting out, and give the impression that, you know, he's easy work to the two fighters that he's calling out in the Jamel Herring. I wouldn't say not too much Jamel Herring because they sparred, you know, so many times before, and they're in the same stable, and his energy has been extremely high, just short of disrespectful of Jamel Herring. He's been letting it known that, you know, he want to fight Jamel Herring. He made mention that he was a B-level fighter. It's just short of being disrespectful. But Shakur Stevenson said this back in the past that it's business. That's all. It's just business. So really, he's being more vocal about Jamel Herring, so people can kind of start talking up that fight. So people can start talking up that fight, man. He has to. He has to separate, that buddy, that friendship, that bond that they probably have behind the scene. You know what I'm saying? You can't be extremely friendly and close to Terrence Crawford and then despise Jamel Herring because he has a belt. Jamel Herring's not that dude. Real talk. He's not that dude, man. I never seen him be that dude. He never acted that way. He's a low-key type of cat. Vet like myself, U.S. Marine Corps Semper Fi. He's never been that guy. So seeing Stevenson show up, and that's where his belt is, and then being more vocal in the media, I think it's airplay, to be honest with you, bro. I think it's airplay. I think Stevenson's just talking up the fight. A lot of us believe in Stevenson being the next best. He just has to find a way to promote himself better, self-promote himself much better than what he's doing. That's going to come with performances, and that's going to come with, I don't know, positioning, man. He's a top rank. And I was talking about this on a live way back, how I hope Shakur Stevenson didn't get put in the same get put on the same park bench as Terrence Crawford when it came to top rank. I was hoping they didn't sit him down like that early in his career because he's moving fast. He left 26 behind, moved to 30. He wants all the belts at 30. Is he going to be able to continue to shift, make moves, and progress in the sport? That's the biggest question of it all. Is he going to be able to continue to progress with championship straps? Is it possible? Right now he's a little, this performance, it doesn't diminish Stevenson's career. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. The man's still young in the game and everything. He's still making moves. It's going to take him a little bit of time to collect the belts at 30. But I do believe him when he said he want to face the Valdez and Herrings. I believe him. Also, part of me believes that possibly he went out there and he didn't want to show too much. And he really want to make this fight next. I don't know. I know it sounds stupid. But that stuff happens in combat sports sometimes. You bait and lure, your opponent into a situation and have them believing that, from what I just seen, it might be a little bit easier than I thought. He's not aggressive as you, Valdez. He's not. He don't have the punching power you got, Valdez. Take that fight, Valdez. They start hyping him up. Take that fight. Take that fight, man. Shakur Stevenson do well on your resume. He's not active enough to beat you, Valdez. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with Stevenson. There's nothing wrong with it, man. I think he's kind of seeing the breaks a little bit. He's kind of seeing what's going on around him. And he's not going to come in there and just be a dog each and every time he fights. Because he want to be smart about it. That's just what I believe. I believe he just want to be smart about pacing himself in the sport, still be a top-tier name without him being parked, sat on that bench because, people don't want to fight him. And right now you have Herring, Valdez, and Davis. And then whoever else, is going to fight for that IBF title. But there's some titles there for him to unify. All the unifications are big names. Even Jamel Herring. Jamel Herring coming off that win over Frampton. Yes. Salute. Commendable. Whether it's Shakur Stevenson and Herring or Valdez. We know Valdez with the WBC carrying that momentum from his knockout over Miguel Burchelt. That's momentum, man. Both of these guys that's on the radar of Shakur Stevenson has momentum coming off of very solid fights. So either way, Stevenson can win. You know, he's in a win-win situation with either name. But you know what they say? They talking about two brothers can't sell, but yet a brother up against a Latino or Mexican, they're gonna sell. And Stevenson, believe it or not, regardless of his performance yesterday, if they make the fight between him and Valdez, it's gonna do, you know, it's gonna pique the interest of boxing fans. They're gonna come see it. Real talk. They're gonna come check that fight out. Period. They want to see. They want to see, can Oscar Valdez, you know, emulate or reciprocate what happened, you know, in the Burchelt fight? Can he even put Stevenson in that predicament of adversity? Is it possible? Is it possible? Because, you know, he tried to fight Valdez at 26 and Valdez vacated and moved up. So I really hope they fight, man. I really hope Stevenson gets what he wants and prove that he's the next best rising star in the sport. You know, it takes time. It really does. Shout out to you know, Bronze Bomber Nation, man. The press conference going down Tuesday. This is the big deal all over globally. So many people talking about this press conference. But I'm going to tell you like this. I don't think that press conference is going to go down like you think. I really don't. It's not going to go down like you think. You know, watching Deontay Wilder in the media, how calm, how sung-forward he's been. Sung-forward means carefree. And how he hasn't really been going over the top. You know what I'm saying? If you look back at the Bermain Stavern presser, when Bermain is saying, boy, I'm going to be on your ass. I'm going to be on your ass, boy. Deontay Wilder wasn't really the one standing up with the rah-rah response. It was more so his security, I think his brother, or whoever, I'm not sure. But he wasn't. He was calm. So in this time around, with the interviews being the way they are, and, you know, even when he was asked about, you know, firing JDs, it was misinformation, but yet it was an impulsive reaction to it. It wasn't. It's like, who told you that? No, for real. Tell me who told you that? Oh, that's what I thought. I'm just asking. He said, no, JD's still in the camp. He's behind the scenes audio. And then, you know, you look at how he's responding to things, but yet he's telling you he has violence on his mind. He has violence on his mind, man. He said from the time he stepped down in Vegas. Only thing I can say from being around him when he was at the Dominique Brazil fight, he's a different type of dude when it gets time for business, when it comes time to his opposition. He's a different dude. I know a lot of people hate, you know, they'll hate on me because, you know, I'm telling you the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, and shout out to Tay Jones. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you the truth from what I've experienced. It's all on my channel and all that. So what I'm telling you is just my experience. I can't sit up here and fake it from there. And I know SKIDMARK hate that shit. Every time he hear me speak something about Deontay Wilder, he just got to come back with something. And look, the people that's hating on Deontay Wilder, you know, on any channel, they're the same people. You know, he's trying to build up a black versus Latino type of hate that's going on here. He's not going to tell you, but that's what he's doing. Because really, if you listen to the language, it's the same shit over and over again. You know, he want to throw Deontay as this, Deontay is that. Making excuses. He kept the white man. Now he talking about he kept the white man JDs in his camp. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to build up and provocate race, within the YouTube community. And it won't be the first time, but not too many people should take him serious, because one second he's on Fred's show talking about tearing down a black man, but yet the other day he was over there tearing down a veteran. You know what I'm saying? I believe he's very envious of those who served in the military. He was over there tearing down Terrence Bailey, who pretty much stand on his own square. And he's not a pushover. I know it's plenty of times when they was making fun of Terrence Bailey and trying to talk over him and talking about he was old, this, that, and the other. Same thing they did to me. It's the same language over and over again. But understand this, people. The real focal point is supporting Deontay Wilder's move back into July 24th, back into the ring for one of the biggest trilogies ever. This is one of the biggest trilogies ever. There's so much riding on this fight. There's so much money that's surrounding this fight. You know it, I know it. It's so much freaking money on this fight. It's so much prestige. It's so much legacy on this fight. You can't even measure it. You can't even put a number to it. If you want to scale it on the barometer, you can't even put a number to it. This is one of the biggest fights in boxing history. It's amazing how we was kind of saying the rematch was the biggest fight, but they was coming off a draw. But see, Tyson Fury's celebration was taken away because it was marred with scandal. It was so much attached, so many variables of scandal that was in that fight. That's why this trilogy is going to be epic. It's going to surpass that rematch easily in numbers. And I believe it's going to break into the top 5 highest PPV boxing matches ever. It may indeed surpass that Tyson Holyfield too. Seriously. It might do. It might breach that 2.7. It's a different type of crowd. They've had time to sit back during a pandemic. It's a lot that's been said. The temporaries believe that, this fight was going to take place. I mean, this other fight that they was fantasizing about, Fury and Joshua, was going to take place. But yet the arbitration, it was never in the shadows. The arbitration was out in the open, but somehow, some way, we look at Eddie Hearn, and he was out here just being vindictive. You know what I'm saying? He was being vindictive with it. From my understanding, Eddie Hearns knew about the arbitration, and it wasn't over, and they couldn't move forward. But he went on with this facade about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. He knew. That's being vindictive. You want to go antagonize the people, and you don't care. You just say, I want to do it anyway, just for play. And then when the news come out that Deontay Wilder has won the arbitration, what are your listeners and your audiences doing? They're in dismay right now. Is it true? Is it true? Is it true? I can't believe this. No, Eddie Hearn say the site fees in Saudi. No, Joshua and Fury gonna fight. No, this ain't true, man. Eddie Hearn said, stop all this. What you talking about? No, Eddie Hearn, he put it out there. It's on BoxRec. Check it out. You know how many people was telling me that shit? Bruh, the fight's on BoxRec. It's going down. It's happening. It's official. And I'm saying it's not, man. This arbitration is real life. It's an entity. King Mitch in the building. Combat, what up? What's good there, King Mitch? Appreciate you pulling up, my brother. But yeah, I know it's some of the same repeated, language sometime. And that's the way it's going to be, because you have to call and help and hold those naysayers accountable that's just trying to sit up here and talk blasphemy about this entire situation. Wilder goes in there and get his belt back. Then what is the narrative? I don't care what the narrative is. All I'm concerned about is what my mindset is and my thoughts about this fight and them heading in there July 24th. I don't say, well, I'm going with Wilder, but my heart's with. I don't do none of that shit. I pick the fighter that I pick, that I rock with, and that's what it is. All or nothing. All or nothing. Done. There's no heart over here, but I'm going with so-and-so because I like, no, all of motherfucking nothing. You go on one side and leave the other alone. 1 and a 0. Place your value on one or the other. It doesn't matter what him or anybody else say on this fight. It don't matter how much you call a man a bitch. He's still not recognizing you. And it's good he's not talking to y'all. Because a lot of y'all that was on here dogging him still, when you see him in person, when you run into him and see him, in the hotel, in the street, in Vegas, you'll be running up to him, say, Bronze Bomber, I'm your best friend, Bronze Bomber. Please, can I get a picture, Bronze Bomber? Deontay, please, I'm your bestie. But see, you better do it while Tay ain't around. Because when you leave somebody out here to monger in the YouTube community and get a good feel as to the naysayers that's been out here blasting his name, he's going to know. He ain't going to know everybody by face, but he know most, you know what I'm saying? He know the primary culprits. It's going to be different. You can see that in his interviews. It's going to be different, man. Pete Davenport in the building. I appreciate you there, Pete. Thanks for the donation, my brother. Say peace, my good brother, world. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the donation. I tell you, the ones who donate, they don't have to be asked. That's why I don't sit up here and take 30 minutes of my time ask for donations. But the ones who do it like Pete, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Let's just stay strong, man. And look at the thumbnail. The days are dwindling so fast, man. The days on the horizon so fast. That's 41 days, bro. And we're on the horizon, man. We're on the eve of the first presser to this trilogy. Do you remember the first press conference of Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder? How they did a press tour. The energy was different because, Deontay basically gave him an opportunity. The man's been out the sport for so long, drugged out, coked out, but yet he has a family. He provided the man an opportunity to grace the square with him because he's absolutely did nothing to earn it. Tyson Fury did nothing to earn his placement at the top of the rankings, because when he returned back to the sport, who did he fight? He fought Sefer Safari. He absolutely did nothing to be in that position as being one of the top. Only thing they was doing was just like it's been said, he has the complexion for the protection. How can you come back off a suspension, Pez, and fight Safari, and then Francisco Pianeta, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to be one of the top 2 heavyweights in the game? How can they still hold on to the lineal title just because you haven't been around for someone to defeat you? That's the most fucked up structure That doesn't make any sense at all. That's why boxing, they have so many branches, but if you try to climb on some of them, they already splintered, man. You'll fall down the entire tree messing with that shit. They come back and say he's the lineal. He's the lineal. And the man's been suspended and coked out. And he come back to the sport. He's the lineal. The man fighting Safari and Pianella. And then Deontay gave him an opportunity. So now he gets the Gracie Square, comes into a draw. But he was knocked out. Let's be clear. He was knocked out in the 12th round. He was sent up to a place where many people have not experienced unless it's death. Tyson Fury, he went to a place and seen that light. His people was up there talking to him. You know what I'm saying? They was trying to bring him back to, they say, it's not time for you to leave, Fury. You do have some life left in the sport. So they brought him back to his conscious state, to the voice of Jack Reese that was damn near 3 inches from his face. 5, Kissimmee. 6, Kissimmee. 7, 1,000. 4, and he came back. Any other fighter would have hit the canvas and laid out and stretched. The fight would have been called off. But since it was such a huge magnitude, what happened that night is pretty much what you're getting from the Bronze Bomber right now. Because pretty much they couldn't allow him to go in there and defeat Tyson Fury that night with that knockout. It would have been, it would have changed boxing so much because it would have been definitive. Deontay Wilder would have knocked out Tyson Fury, and then Anthony Joshua would have had to come out the shadows, bro. The whole plan was to have an all UK heavyweight. No cap. I even said this on my live before the fight. Do your research. I'm not going back in that motherfucker. But I told you, it's going to take anything and everything in a perfect performance for Deontay Wilder to get through to whoever's next, to Anthony Joshua. They wanted Tyson Fury to win that fight so they can make that UK undisputed. Politics. The complexion for the protection. And then he comes back around after, refusing to take the immediate rematch. He fights 2 other individuals in Swartz and Wallin, goes to the WWE. Nobody's saying nothing about him not taking a rematch. Meanwhile, Deontay's knocking motherfuckers out. I could have sworn he was all busted up. He had a crazy cut from Otto Wallin's fight, right? Wallin was giving him the business. But he comes back with Sugar Hill, and all of a sudden, he has this crunk injection of immortality. He's gained so much strength. It's unfucking believable. But see, when you tell lies, you got to keep on keeping it refreshed. You got to remember what you said. Tyson Fury said you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And he's an old dog too. And they was trying to convince the general public that Sugar Hill taught him new tricks. And one of them was how to properly deliver a punch so you can get the knockdown the way you was doing it. That's what it was. So when it came to Deontay Wilder, refining his team, they was like, oh, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's pointless. But you're contradicting what you just said. You was basically mentioning that Sugar Hill, that's exactly the suit you wearing from him. He dressed you up real nice, right? He taught you all the new technique that you needed to go in there and put on a show and act like you this Goliath. Now, I can see if it was Anthony Joshua because he's always on the canvas. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Joshua was always on the canvas. I can see. But Wilder's been cracked. Wilder's been cracked, man. He was buzzed by Ortiz, and everybody was jumping, kicking their heels, only to get sat the fuck down. He has a chin, man. So for him to fall, and they were suspect. The knockdowns were suspect. But overall, people don't want to look at it this way, right? They don't want to just digest that there wasn't the Deontay Wilder that they used to seeing. I tell some people that I talk to sometime in boxing conversation. I say when you're looking at a fight and your primary focus is on the name and fighter that you're hoping to win, a lot of what that fighter does is going to be favored because that's who you're examining. You're focused on that individual when you should be looking between the fighters so you can see both, so you can gauge both performances from the left and the right side or whatever the case, man. You just can't look at the fighter that you want to win and then you close it down and say, man, he did everything he's supposed to do. He won. But did you look at his opponent? No, I just know he was throwing punches. He was landing this. If you really want to assess the performance, just look at the fight in mute the first time. Look, view it with mute. Just have an understanding that your mind would just focus on the physical aspect of what's going on, not really the verbal commentary that can either influence you to be biased or just be a distraction to you in general. Either way, you have individuals that look at that shit all wrong. SB90's in the building. Salute to you, bro. WCS, what up? Another lackluster performance from Izzy. We're going to get on that. I'm glad somebody was looking at that fight. Shawty, for real. Because I said that. Did I not say, Izzy, I'm not sold on him yet because we're gonna touch on that for real. And shout out to Brandon Moreno, subbing out Davison Figueiredo in the third round, rear naked choke, man. Shit. Miss say first the arbitration was fake, then it was a step aside money only. Then it was fake again. Fake ass AJ Fury UK fans were making up all types of shit. And Mitch, you're absolutely right. And then you have to also talk about the ones on YouTube that was boosting that shit up too. Especially the ones that has big numbers. And they're talking about this fight as if to, put clickbait titles out there. Fury Joshua, August? I mean, come on, man. If you truly know, you know that fight ain't happening. But you just want your audience to just gravitate to it, perk up a little bit. Oh, is it happening? Deontay's screwed. Well, what's going to happen to Wilder? Step aside money? Sam? What's going on? What is he going to do? How's all this playing out? It just become a big bowl of spaghetti doo-doo. Just imagine you got a toilet full of doo-doo. You dump some damn freshly boiled spaghetti in there. You know how that shit smell. It smells something awful. You put that shit in there and stir it all around. That's what that was on YouTube. You had the August date for Tyson and Joshua. You had the arbitration people was talking about. Then you had this, step aside money. Deontay has accepted 20 million in step aside money. And then all of a sudden you had the Saudi, site fee. They was going to do it over in Saudi Arabia. But yet they had to come up with two fake deadlines. Oh, they have a deadline by this date. The fight is off. So once again, the shit came and went. And then they want to come up and tell me, the contract is signed. The contract is signed, y'all. The contract is signed. Once again, thumbnail etiquette, thumbnail. Enter. Whoo, I'm glad I was the first one. Okay, cool. Let me put my live information. Let me put my description up there. Cool, man. All right, cool. You heard it, people. You heard it. The contract is signed. Wilder screwed. I don't know about this fake ass arbitration that they got, but the contract is signed, y'all. This contract, it's legit. It's official. Well, what did you hear that from? It's all over. It's all over the news. Eddie Hearns. Go on BoxRec, check it out. So when they put this shit out on BoxRec, a lot of people was like, wow. You know, baby, let's go out to eat. Why? Let's just go out to eat, man. We gotta celebrate. They say the damn Fury and Joshua fight has been signed, man. Whew, I'm so happy, man. I just gotta go get some drinks. Let's go have some drinks, baby. This is, oh my God. I'm just about to shed a tear because we get the fight that everybody's been talking about. They've been talking about this undisputed, baby. They've been talking about this undisputed. Two better guys couldn't, oh my God. It couldn't be with two better guys. Tyson Fury, he's coming back to life from a strained mental illness. Oh my God, the story. Anthony Joshua, he's been fighting his way and clawing his way to the top, returning from a loss to regain his title. He's been the type of champion that you look for, people. The UK deserves it. You understand me, baby? Give me a hug. Give me a kiss, baby. Give me a kiss. Man, come on. Look, it was people losing they sanity when they said the fight was signed. Hearns was just sitting back laughing. He really puppetized y'all once again. He really puppetized the shit out of y'all. But then, you know, when the real news broke, right? And it hit the mainstream, and that the arbitration was over, and Deontay Wilder, you know, he won. He was the victor. Then it got down to the point where people say, fuck it, we don't have nothing to talk about. So let's go back to spewing hatred and vilify Wilder. Now we want to call him labels that doesn't even make sense. Block squad. If you're trying to fight to be in the ring, how can you be blocking anything? Somehow, some way, the judge that was over the arbitration did their due diligence and ruled and rapped the gavel to say it's enough evidence here that he warrants a third fight. Not just a third fight, but you're going to fight him immediately. I'll tell people, right? What if Deontay Wilder would have took that Sam? He would have took that Sam, right? Y'all would have been satisfied, right? Now y'all would have went up there, thumbnail, enter Deontay Wilder, scared of Tyson Fury. He takes step aside money and run for the hills. It's over. His career is done. He's afraid, depleted. Somebody hand him a straitjacket. I mean, that would have been it. His people, his own people, black people, would have vilified the shit out of Deontay Wilder. You think they was doing that when he was champion? Let him take step aside money, and they had an all UK undisputed. They would have said, "Oh, you big stupid dummy." It would have been Fred Sanford all over. You stupid dummy. Lamont, you ain't took that step aside, Lamont. That big dummy. You think we didn't support him then? Well, sure enough, don't support him now. That's correct. I've never seen nobody head hit the canvas like Fury, and that fight wasn't stopped already. Yes, man. You know, everything about the conclusion and that 12-round knockout, they basically stole that moment from Wilder, took it away from him, never allowed him possession to begin with. Even though he was the owner, they never allowed him possession of the knockout. because Jack Reese made sure that he was going to get up. If Jack Reese had to count to 15 and the EMT is telling him, Jack, he needs medical attention. No! 18, Kissimmee. Come on, Philly. Get up. 17, Kissimmee. Jack, you're counting backwards, Jack. What are you doing, Jack? 13, Kissimmee. Get up, Fury. Shit, Jack would have been blowing a socket over there, man. That right there was scandal too. Real talk. And you can't say, I'm just talking about it because I asked him to his face. Yeah, it pretty much severed a communicable, rapport that we had. But when it comes down to watching that, no, bro, I have to ask you, and I did respectfully. But of course, after that, as a referee, you should know media is going to ask you the tough questions. And he took a lot of flack for that count he gave Wilder, man, the long count. He took so much flack for that. And he can't go around here and be mad at everybody who asked him about it. He must have damn talked about that shit hundreds of times. And he did. He did enough so Tyson Fury can get up. It's almost similar to what I was looking at with Luis Nery, man. When Brandon Figueroa knocked out Luis Nery in his body shot, the ref was on his knee like, I don't know. It just took me back to Jack Reese because I have flashes like that. I'm talking about a particular subject and then another comparison to come up. Side, another reflection, boom, boom, boom. But it just reminds me of that. Anyway, Ryan Garcia has defeated his anxiety and depression in a matter of weeks. He's the greatest, cycling off clenbuterol. Yeah, man, he's gonna get that down. Y'all wait and see. I got word Ryan Garcia gonna be somewhere real soon. I'm gonna have my camera rolling. Believe me, I'm gonna ask him some questions. Real talk. I'm gonna ask Ryan some questions. I'm gonna ask him some questions, Shawty, for real. Because he want to come back and use that mental illness stuff too, and he on the beach and doing what the hell he want to do. Nah, man, you're the biggest capper. You're the biggest ducker in the game, bro. But this ain't about Ryan, though. According to Thurman, you only need a belt to be undisputed. To his defense, I did hear TBE say the same shit a few years back. If they're going off the primaries, the ones that are respected the most, prioritize in the facet which they ranked one belt is this value, next that value, and the third that value in WBO, zipping it up just like the IBO. It's almost like the WBO and the IBO are neighbors, but you're in a good neighborhood, but you way down there on the end where somebody have to make that left turn and it says no through traffic and people just see the damn two houses down there. Nah, I ain't going down there. But all the rest of the neighborhood looks good. That's just the way that shit looks with the WBO or IBO on how people treat it. They're riding down the strip. They see the WBC, WBA, and the IBF. Okay, all right. I know exactly what he's talking about. You need 3 belts. But Thurman needs to understand that, tradition is changing very, very clear. And it's up to us to catalog it the right way and understand that's what it is. Boxing can no longer stay in the same way it's been doing for decades because it's not growing. Boxing was strained all to be damned in the pandemic. Boxing was hurting, y'all. Boxing was in dire needs during the pandemic. Fighters couldn't do shit. It's no way. With all boxing has been through, how can you not have a fallout? A backup plan where at least fighters in more than one region can go to this place, eat, sleep, train, and prepare for a fight to keep going. How was boxing damn near in the cemetery? And then you have Dana White and the UFC still trying to throw on fights wherever they can. They didn't stop the motion. You know why they can continue to do that? Because they're on the one umbrella. There's no umbrella big enough to organize boxing right now. It would take a lot of money, and even the people that you will owe internal to boxing, they will set their price tag so high on what they believe they will make, is you're gonna have to take a rich group of people to buy them out and restructure boxing in general. Take away all the sanctioning bodies. Remove all these belts. You know what I'm saying? It'll take a motherfucking miracle. It'll take an act of God for boxing to be condensed, reorganized, and re-implemented to the sports community. It's too many people to pay. People wouldn't be able to do what they want to do in the sport of boxing. There would be a bit more restrictions. You know what I'm saying? Protocols, organization, SOPs in place. Right now, it's just a Serengeti. It's all for one and one for whatever happens. It's a dog-eat-dog jungle out this bitch. And it's continue to, struggle to try to get fights over here, fights over there, continue to get the boxing audience to tune in. Because like I tell you, boxing doesn't have a fan base. It has an audience. Boxing has an audience. Because a lot of people that attend these fights, they just go for entertainment value. They a lot of these cats don't study boxing outside of, tending the fight. They don't study the sport. They just attend it, drink some beer, and go home. Jack Reese had one of the strong smelling chemicals for Fury to sniff. Yeah, man, he probably put it in his hair, goddammit. LL, the ref stopped Zab Judah, and he actually got up. Got all a little too fast. Okay, you talking about Jay Needy. Yeah, I remember that fight. He got up too fast. Ankle wasn't ready. Absolutely. But in Jab's mind, he was ready. The adrenaline was flowing and everything. And it's a lot when your neurological system is misfunctioning or malfunctioning and your thought process is everywhere. Motherfucking thoughts may not be jumping over the synapses gap. They might be bouncing off the side of your cranial wall and you going crazy right now, trying to figure out, God damn it, why my legs ain't working? What the fuck is going on? And that's kind of what was going on with Zab Judah. But, Nady, he stopped the fight and Zab put his hand up around his neck and he was fine for that. But, that goes like that in boxing sometime, man. Jack Reese with that preschool 10 count. Absolutely, man. Children, quiet. We're going to count to 10. You remember, I want you all to be together on this. So what was my in between? 1,000. Just a little bit slower than that. Let's try it out. 1,000. Tick, tick, tick. 2 1,000. Semi. Man, come on now. Complexion for the fucking protection, man. Izzy looks solid. Didn't have to show everything versus Villateri. I don't see anyone at the middleweight beating him. He's improved. Izzy has improved. Like even with Izzy, that fight he had with Yoel Romero was slow, lethargic. Well, I'm on my way to get to mixed martial arts because there's a lot of shit that I want to talk about. Even my boy Nate Diaz, man, and y'all don't understand why I fuck with mixed martial arts heavy. I fuck with boxing heavy too, but y'all understand why I fuck with MMA heavy too, and not just boxing. But I think it's a big deal. I think, overall the mood has changed, even for the better, with Deontay Wilder's name being out there. You know what I'm saying? Because people understand that he's a dangerous individual heading into this fight. And there's some people out there, I'm telling you, they have some anxiety, people. They have anxiety about this. They have no money on the fight, but their anxiety is Deontay Wilder. What he said, his smooth chocolate brown skin. They don't want somebody like him to win right now and start calling out Joshua. And there's nothing that's left for them to fight. I bet Joshua got there and talk about, no, Petty. No, I fight Alexander Usyk. No, keep the same energy you was keeping with Fury and fight Wilder. That would be two big heavyweight fights. That wouldn't be for the undisputed. I don't have to tell you. Just do it. But I want to say, that's my Muhammad Ali of this era. That's the way I view him, because I was able to see him reign as long as he did and fight the way he did and be great while I was living. I wasn't able to do that with Muhammad Ali as such. I never had the opportunity to, go to his fights back then, growing up with freaking no internet, no social media back then, but you're talking about the U.S. heavyweight champion of this era. Yeah, now it's time to change lanes. And the battle lines are the same, though. The formation will be different. The battle lines are the same, but the formation will be different. I'm going to leave it like that. SKIDMARK, you continue to talk, because that's the much you are. You continue to bark behind the fence and be mad when we out here in these fields looking at the fight firsthand. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you get a Mexican on your channel that's a Deontay Wilder hater and he going to tell you what you want. You the racist. I know deep down inside you hear what I say. You're an Ethiopian that's confused and motherfucking crackhead. A lot of shit is going on wrong about you, from your hairline to who you are as a person internally. You are chemically dependent. You're not functioning correctly. That is your own fault. So when you want to continue to push racism, now you're pushing racism and tearing down black men. I would say they're your own people, but they're not. We are not Ethiopians. You are. So therefore, when you wake up and you want to come out here and talk the same shit all the time, and I know, the people that you have on your panel, if they want to agree with you on everything, that's what you have to deal with. But them mutts won't come over here and talk this shit to me. They won't talk this shit to me. They have the open invitation. SKIDMARK, your invitation's been open. You talk about every other old man on this channel, on this YouTube shit, but without me. You talking about whooping everybody's ass, knowing you ain't whooping nothing without me. So I'm gonna leave that alone. I just encourage the people to step up and continue to support the champ. UFC 263 went down yesterday, man. Israel Adesanya came 21 victories into the game. 21 professional victories with one defeat. It might not have been the most entertaining fight, but like it was just said in this chat, who is next? Has Israel Adesanya cleaned out the middleweight division at 85? I think one of the people that could have gave him a good go right now was Chris Weidman. That's real talk. I really thought Chris Weidman could have did pretty decent. He's a pretty decent wrestler, and his hands are pretty decent. He knocked out Anderson Silva with punches, and he checked his leg and broke it, just like his leg was checked and broke. Same injury. I don't want to call it karma because Chris Weidman was doing what he's supposed to do. It's going to take for somebody to move up. And the Africans are acting like they want to just have a unity as long as possible by owning these belts. And I truly don't blame them. I don't blame them. If you got Ngannou Adesanya, and Usman. I mean, three solid individuals, dark color skin, represent their colors in that country. I mean, what is there to say? Black Americans, that's what we want to do all the time, but there's no unity. It will be, though. It will be. Come the 24th, it will be. It'll be a good amount of unity. So look at who else is in the game. Kamaru Usman is 170-pound welterweight world champion. He will give Israel a pretty good go right now if he chose to move up, but that ain't happening. I don't want to see a Nate Diaz brother. So Nate Diaz fought Leon Edwards yesterday. I would think his brother Nick, if he can come in and try to challenge Adesanya. I don't know how that will play out. I don't know what Nick Diaz has been doing as of late. But let me tell you about these Diaz brothers. They're Stockton, California OGs for real. They've been in the game. Nate Diaz was fighting grown men as a teenager. We're talking about ground game, everything. They've been in the game for a long time. If you looked at the Leon Edwards fight, yeah, it was pretty vintage Nate Diaz, falling behind early and kept coming on late. It looked like for 1 minute he was going to have that shining moment like he did with Conor McGregor, but absent of the submission. He was going to knock him out. And I was really rooting for, Nate Diaz to get the stoppage. It would have been great for him to get back in the starlight, but he earned the fans over. He did. He really did. He earned the fans over, man, even in the lopsided fight. Leon Net was looking like that shit like, damn. I beat his ass, and they still cheering for him because the MMA fans are different. The MMA fans like Warrior. They like that Warrior spirit, man. They like it. No surrender, no retreat. Blood all, goddamn drinking your own blood. That's what the Diaz brothers give to you, and that's why the MMA fans love them like that. I don't know if you seen the Brangham Figueiredo fight. It was wild though because Figueiredo picked up the belt when he fought for a vacant title, the flyweight title, and he fought Joseph Benavidez from Alpha Male, right? And he missed weight in that fight, but he knocked him out anyway. But he didn't get the belt. So Dana White did, right, checked the box, brought him back in, and he knocked Benavidez out in the second fight. Now he's legitimate champion. He goes in there and fight a very tough. We're talking about this guy was picked last at Ultimate Fighter, y'all. He was picked last. Marino had to fight his way up for respect. He was in the UFC. He wasn't all that, and he was released, fought in a neighboring organization, came back. So he went and finally got his opportunity with Figueiredo, and it was a draw. But you saw something in that fight. You say, damn, Marino, he's really good. He's improved big time, just like Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo lost to Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson the first time. It took him about 2 years to return. And when he did return, his ass is on point. His goddamn game, his fight game was on point. He been working with a boxing coach, goddammit. TJ thought he was going to bring his ass down there and take his motherfucking title because they was trying to abolish the 125-pound division. And look who brought it back, Henry Cejudo. He knocked out TJ in 1 round, and TJ was dirty. Then he goes up to 135, y'all, because Dana tried to put an assassin on him, and the assassin came in freaking drugged up. He goes up there and fight Dominic Cruz and knocks him out. But he fought Moraes first. Marlon Moraes smashed him. Henry Cejudo was just collecting C's. I know his C's deal with his gold medal championship and the divisions he was in, but he also could have put them damn C's up there. He could have started collecting C's for the championships, that he was defending too. So Figueiredo goes in there in a rematch against Brandon Moreno, and he pushed him at the face off and everything. I thought it was just for promo, but it was really some shit probably going on with Figueiredo. And he ended up being subbed out, man. He really worked hard for that submission, and he locked it in. It was a wrap. Over. Done. Third round submission. He's the world champion. So he pretty much like sat down in the middle of the cage. He soaked it all in with emotion. I think he was the first Mexican flyweight champion, if I'm not mistaken. It was a very precious moment in that. Very precious moment. But MMA, man, it's doing some big things. The PFL, they getting a whole lot of limelight right now. With the Shields fight, I see it all over mass media. I see it everywhere. There's so many articles on it and everything. And, kudos to those two females going in there and fighting one another, Izzy took solid, didn't have to do anything. You see how they call it Shakur boring. It's never enough with these fans. CJA, we should be fully aware as to why they're calling Shakur Stevenson boring, because they believe, the temporaries believe, you can just go in there any and every time and perform on 10. And every opponent is different. So, if you beat this opponent like Tokokan Kalari, if you was really giving him that 8 to 9 action, because he was giving it back, then the fight is going to play out differently to the fans. They're going to, have a higher level of interest when looking at these fights. But yesterday, yes, it was the land of nod a bit, but that happens in boxing. Shakur might have been bored in there, or he might have been trying to just, slow it down just a bit. So some of those names that he was calling out, look at him like, it looks easy, y'all. We should sign this fight. I mean, is mind games could have been played. I don't know, but you're gonna have fights like that. You are. You're gonna have fights like this, man. Dana White said he didn't think Moreno will win. Believe it when he's getting on them fights. Dana White hasn't been the best. It's hard to be a solid voice who is spot on with the predictions. I even said with Davis and Figueiredo, I believe he'll be around for quite some time because he seems so strong. But also I did look at him as far as him being a bigger fighter in the cage. Was he ballooning up in weight in between fights? If that is indeed the truth, then it makes a lot of sense as to how he was looking yesterday. He might have had to cut a lot of weight, and he was depleted. He didn't cut weight properly, and he was just out of it. He couldn't keep up that pace because Moreno's a dog, man. He went in there and got that title. So in the men's divisions, from heavyweight, you have Ngannou, light heavyweight, Juan Blachowicz. This is what I'm trying to tell you what's different than boxing when it comes to this. Francis Ngannou heavyweight, light heavyweight, Juan Blachowicz, middleweight, Izzy Adesanya, and we're talking about fast track Izzy Adesanya, 1-7 Kamaru Usman, and go from 1-7 to 155. Who is the champion at 155 right now? Y'all tell me. Who's the champ? See, y'all can't really tell me who the champ is unless you follow the sport. You know who the champ is right now, right? Charles Oliveira finally got the strap. One of the most lethal, man. Charles Oliveira finally got the strap. Good shit, man. 145-pound division is Alexander Volkanovski, which is very, very tough. And I'm sort of kind of looking forward to his next fight, but no. And then 135, you have Aljamain Sterling, another brother. He's going to have to go back in here and defend his title against Petrie Young. There's a lot of controversy behind that. So just stay tuned for that. 135-pound division, bantamweight. Bantamweight in boxing is 118. Bantamweight in MMA is 135, y'all. And then the last division where Dana White at one point in time tried to abolish it, that's flyweight division, 125 pounds, where you have a Mexican, the first Mexican champion. He is now the new reigning defending 125-pound flyweight champion. And you know the ladies only has four divisions. You have the very entertaining Thug Rose Namajunas, and then at 115, and then the 125, you have Valentina Shevchenko, 135, Amanda Nunes, and also she is champion at 145 featherweight. That's some good interest right there. Seriously, that's some good interest. People need to pay attention. Support the fighters that you choose to. But I need y'all to do me a big favor this week. I need for y'all to do me a big favor. If you see me going live, right? And I'm not going to be going live from here. You see me going live, I need for you to share the content. Y'all see me going live, I need you to share the content. Because I'm going to do my live differently. I'm going to do more so a vlog live this time, instead of just recording and posting it later. But I will ask for you all to share the content. And, it's going to be a heavy week coming up. And I'm going to be low crawling out in the field. That's what I've been doing. Packing up the sea bag. And we're getting ready to goddamn deploy tomorrow. So I want y'all to wish me, support. It's going to be a long motherfucking week. And if y'all have any questions, I'm going to try to go live while I'm out. If y'all have any questions, matter of fact, I'll save that to see if they even have questions, okay? Because I did pick some up from the last one. But I'll try to see if they're going to have question and answer period. You know what I'm saying? To make this somewhat more friendly, so to speak. I don't think it's going to be a friendly press conference. I just don't think there's much going to be said between these two, because we already know Tyson Fury, mojo in the pocket. I got this and that. I don't want to hear none of that. Sir Senior in the building, what's good? I don't want to hear none of that. This, that, and the other in the pocket. And what is he going to do? We heard all of that. So just so these individuals can actually show up to the fight card, I think it's going to be a much different press conference than you think. Real talk. Well, understand this, though. When I go live this week, I need for you all to share the content, man. Share to anywhere you can get the content for real. Because when I go out, I be trying to give y'all the exclusive, right? But people act like they don't want to share the content or tune in. So, I was at a point where I was just waiting to get home and post my shit. But I'm trying to give y'all a behind. Look at the fight at the MGM. I was doing behind the scenes shit, all that. People act like they couldn't share the content, man. That was behind the scenes shit. But I appreciate the ones who support me and fuck with me. Real talk. And you already know what it is. Just stay close and turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Salute.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a sixth sense for imposters, so now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me.